I almost had to scrap the script because of a quick hotfix Raven did for these weapons. However, the patch didn't quite do what Raven was hoping for. So, let's start. This current meta is by far the worst. The DMR meta is a close second, but this just seems to be impossible to fight against. Sure, the R9 shotgun meta was really annoying, but it was a shotgun. You could still win fights at range. It definitely was broken, but there were ways to counter it. Something that's more dangerous than a 2-hit kill shotgun is a 2-hit kill rifle. Sniper rifles tend to be fine, even though we did have that one issue with the SPR. However, when there's a high-powered rifle that is semi-auto, with low recoil between each shot, this becomes an issue, which was the DMR meta. During that period of time, I stopped playing Warzone. I would only jump in for one game or to play Resurgence, where dying wasn't as costly or frustrating, but it did get to a point where I just couldn't even bring myself to jump back in before the fixed patch. So now what meta is haunting this game now? Well, the FFAR and the burst rifles, AUG and M16. Starting with the FFAR, it is full auto. The problem with the gun is its high rate of fire, low recoil, and it feels like the damage is consistent at range. The FFAR isn't impossible to fight against, but it is by far the best full auto AR rifle there is right now, at least in terms of the weapon stats. It needs adjustments to round it out. They did release a patch that did adjust the attachments, but not the weapon damage or the range it seems. So the gun is still very solid. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it does need to be addressed. The FFAR does land a little more towards the meta back when the Growl had the good damage range, where that it did now, but just that this needs to be patched up a little bit more like that. I had no problems with the Growl. I think the Growl should have been almost left alone because of what it gave, but I understand that it did need a nerf regardless. Either way, that kind of meta is something I can live with, but not with what we're going to be talking about next. Moving on, we have the AUG and M16 burst rifles, so let's explain the problem. Currently, these rifles will kill a target with full plates with 6 shots so long as 1 shot hits the head. 6 shots is a little low for a rifle, but for a burst rifle, this means for 2 bursts, you get a kill.
Yeah, I got bursted instantly by an M16.
I got you.
Even though it isn't the same game, I also tested this with this VAMAS, which is a burst rifle in Modern Warfare in the multiplayer section, which also kills in 2 bursts in the multiplayer game, which means no plates. So a burst weapon that's taking 2 bursts to kill in multiplayer is also taking 2 bursts to kill in Warzone. Something here doesn't add up. This makes the AUG and M16 a 2 or 3 tap kill, similar to what the DMR was. Fun fact, if you use stopping power on these 2 weapons, they kill with 1 burst. I don't mind saying this out loud because I actually want everyone to do this. I want every player in every lobby to grab these weapons and use stopping power. Maybe then Activision, Raven, Treyarch, and everyone else will get the message. Hopefully they remove stopping power as well because of it. The AUG and M16 still fires fairly quick for a burst weapon, and the recoil isn't all that difficult to control. So now every player is running around with the setup. A word of advice to any developer: if you have a cross-platform shooter with controllers and mouse and keyboard support, increasing recoil is one of the least effective ways to nerf a weapon, unless you go overboard with it. Don't get me wrong, it works, but it will typically cancel out those who use controllers, while the mouse and keyboard players will continue abusing the weapon. The AUG and M16 both need a recoil and a damage nerf, as well as lowering the headshot multiplier. Well then, these 2 weapons in particular will continue to ruin Warzone for me and many others. Burst weapons can be effective, but at this point they're outshooting anything from close to mid-range. A burst weapon should really be best in mid-range combat, but not be so dominant that they down people before they can get a shot off. These guys don't seem to be in any rush to improve Warzone, and I don't know why they seem to be dragging their feet with these changes. I know times have been difficult for everyone, just that on this side of the fence, it's frustrating to see a great game get ruined for no good reason. Oh, and while I'm at it, can we please make Resurgence Rebirth Trios a permanent thing? It's one of my only favorite modes in this game that has to offer. It also helps me to play it while there's a broken meta that's going on. Alright, that's all I got for today, I promise. I'll see you next week hopefully, where I talk about Bob and his burgers.